system, it has to make sure that there is abstraction. It must make sure that there is efficiency. It means that everything that is working with, it is able to work with it within the line of duty. Maybe ability to evolve. So when you look at ability to evolve, we are looking at now, we can keep on changing, maybe improving the operating system, maybe adding other features within the operating system. And that is why up to now, we still add features in our operating system. So it was looking at which of them is not part of an objective of an operating system, and it was clear because if you look at this, this is a characteristics of an operating system. It is a characteristic of an operating system. And other characteristics, we have multi-programming. That is the one that is now data programming. We have symmetrical multi-processing, where we are using multiple processors to execute, multi-threading, object-oriented programming, etc. So I think that was okay. The next one, outline the correct list of deadlock conditions as used in inter-process communication. So at this case, we are not looking at maybe the process. We are looking at what we need within the conditions. And for this case, we have hold and wait, no preemption, that. But if you look at this, mutual exclusion, no preemption, and kill. When you are using kill, this is one of the strategies that we use in order to improve, to reduce these conditions that we have. None of that one cannot work because if you look at this, is the wrong answer. Mutual exclusion, hold and wait, terminate, and avoidance. So if you look at these, terminate is used mostly in process state. Avoidance is used as a strategy. So that was the answer that was supposed to be used on that case. When designing an operating system, the program must observe the following characteristics except. So I think I have already given you the characteristics. And if you look at the answers that we have here, the answer that is not included is the polymorphism. So polymorphism is mostly used in programming. When you are trying to look at the various presentations that you are supposed to use in the execution of a given process. So in this case, we were not supposed to use pipelining. Pipelining is one of the correct characteristics that we have because we can arrange those jobs following a certain criteria. So the answer was polymorphism because we are looking at which of them is not a characteristic. The following is a language used in an operating system, except, I think here we had an omission, except. We had an omission of which this one is supposed to be except. Event-driven language and structured language, object. The following is a language used in an operating system. So this E is not allowed. So the answer was command language because these ones are mostly used in programming, event-driven language, and structured language, object-oriented language. This is mostly used in programming. So this one is used in an operating system because we have job command language, job control language as the basic or the main types of languages that we have within an operating system. So it was supposed to be the following is a language used in an operating system. That is what we expected from that question. I think that was a mix-up. If it was not a multiple choice, maybe I could have given you that. But don't worry for that. Okay. So what is a shell? I think that one is okay because if you look at a shell, we are looking at the interface between the operating system and the users. And one of them we said we use the born again shell, corn shell, sesh shell, and many other shells that we always have that arouse communications from one point to another. The next question was the following are placement policies used in operating system. Now, which is not a placement policy? Now, in this case, we were supposed to look at which of them is not a placement policy. And I think this was okay. Fast, we don't have fast. F-A-S-T, we have fast.
Yes.
F-A-R-S-T.
I.
Yes. So these
Yes.
are next fit, worst fit, hey, worst fit. Maybe this was best fit. So this was, I think this was, you are able now to get the answer because you cannot say this is the worst fit and we have another answer that is having a worst fit.
Yes.
So that was, you are supposed to look at two, answers here, next fit and first fit, which is the correct one. And for this one, because you are saying which is not a placement policy, now it comes here where we are looking at the first, F-A-S-T, which is wrong, very wrong, because we don't have it. Then the next one is operating system is classified into the following except, if you look at the classification of operating system, we said it can be classified into either mobile operating system, Windows operating systems, Unix operating system, Unix operating systems, and OS2 operating system, DOS operating system, etc. But we said still we have what you call examples of operating systems. And examples of operating systems depends with which operating system, we depend with the classification or with the classifications. When you look at Windows, examples of operating systems that are in Windows is Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows XP, and many other that we have, because we are talking about now the current ones, Windows 7. So for this one, the answer was Windows 7, because Windows 7 is an example of an operating system. Because if you look at now the classification, we have OS2, Unix, Windows, then we have others like those operating systems in the market nowadays. So that is the answer, Windows 7. So the next one, Mr. Kamau was accessing some files he created on his work computer and found that the file was interrupted. As an information technology specialist, I advised Mr. Kamau what he should do to avoid such a mistake when creating file in somebody's computer. Now, what should you do? So this one you can work with the answers. Change the password for the computer. When you change the password of the computer, you are disadvantaging the owner, because now the owner will not see the password. So is this your computer or somebody's computer? It is somebody's computer, so that cannot be the right answer. Change the hard disk to avoid loss of data. Now, when you change this hard disk, it means you have changed even your content. So you cannot even access your content. So it means you have done nothing. All of the above, we cannot have them. We cannot have this as an answer, because now this is not the correct answer and this is not the correct answer. So provide a password on the file he created. So this is the best answer, because you should provide password, because we said the file system that we use, they provide security in folder level. Either we are talking about a file X, we can provide it with some passwords, and this password can belong to other directories that we have. So the correct answer was to provide the password file he created, because that is the best option to use, because you're using somebody's computer. The following are types of operating systems, except I think that one is okay. Real time, so you need to look at different types of operating systems, and we need to look at classification, we need to look at the examples. So I think this one is okay. You got it. And I know, please, the Zoom is almost switching off. We have wasted a lot of time using it. What we'll do after you switch it over, I will restart it again. Then you use that password still to log in.
Okay.
Yes. So when it switches off, you restart again. So for this case, we are looking at first come, first serve. So I think that one is okay because we are looking at using the round robin with that. So we are using the quantum of 5, and that one you've gotten it. So unless there is an issue of calculating that, I don't see any issue for when you are calculating that because you have already gotten the mark for that.
Yes.
Which of the following is characteristic in an operating system that allow process to use multiple processor during execution? Which of the following is a characteristic in an operating system that allow process to use multiple processor? So automatically, multi-threading uses various threads. So that one cannot be an answer. Symmetrical multiprocessing. When you talk about multiprocessing, we are looking at now processor. So this is the answer. Object-oriented, it uses objects. Pipelining, that is organizing, arranging them in maybe in ascending from the first one to the last one. Like now, if you look at now printer, it uses pool of job, P-O-O-L, pool of jobs. So when you use those pool, we put them in a pipelined manner. So when you put them in a pipelined manner, we are saying the first one should be the first one. First come, first serve, and you execute that. So the correct answer was symmetrical multiprocessing. So it is always good to know these characteristics, how you can define them in your own interpretation. It's not a must you define them according to what you have defined them in notes. So please be able to understand that. The following are 3 main strategies used in Deadlock except detection strategy. So we have detection, avoidance, and prevention. So automatically decomposition. What is decomposition? It is when you change maybe something from the main, you split it to different stages. You decompose until you cannot decompose it again. So that cannot make sense in this forum that we are having here. Then, which process management algorithm is more efficient and uses less waiting? Okay, so as that one was the shortest job first, because if you look at the first come, we said it takes a lot of time to execute jobs. Round robin, we take a lot of time to process, but it is better than using the first come, first serve. Look is mostly used in hardwares, that is input-output devices. So the best one was shortest job first, which uses the least time in execution. So it is more efficient because efficient comes with the time. Efficient comes with the number of jobs that we are having. So you can be able to execute more jobs. So it means it is more efficient in that. And we are able to execute them accurately. So Mwangi is a student at ZTech University. Mwangi is a student at ZTech University, was requested by XYZ company to provide an advice on which category of an operating system is based in terms of the following factors: security and efficiency. So if anything that comes within security, if you are talking about security, automatically we are talking about Linux. So this is not Linux, sorry, I'm very sorry for this. It is Linux operating system. Windows, we said it is not secure at all. OS2 was the oldest operating system. This one was not user-friendly. So if it is not user-friendly, automatically it is not efficient to most of the users. So for this one, it is efficient because if you can use it automatically, we said the viruses or maybe any other Trojans, you cannot be affected by this. Not be affected by this. So this was Linux. Then I think that one is okay. In file management, files is very important in provision of security in folder level. So if you talk about folder level, I remember when you're talking about folder level, we said one of them that you can provide is, that you can provide in folder level is NTFS. X33 is mostly used for Linux. So if we hand extend 4, you could have two answers, of which, was it clear? Oh, okay, used in Windows. So for this case, we are looking at XLD2 can provide folder level, XLD3 can provide in folder level, NTFS is for Windows and NFS is for Windows, but BAFs and XLD3 are file systems that are mostly used in Linux operating system. So in this case, we are looking at NTFS because that is the best one in Windows operating system. The following algorithm is memory management. So I think that one was okay. Least frequently, that one was okay. The following are structures of an operating system except. I think that one was still distributed structure. So somebody who gave this answer. So I think this was an issue. Because if you are having two answers, and it was a multiple choices, if you insert this, maybe it was wrong.
Yes.
So I think for this case, that's why I was looking at whether this person has looked at these two answers. So if you have this answer, you have already given you A, and the other one is B, na ameanguka. So I'm supposed to add a mark because those are two answers. So this one was distributed structure because you don't have distributed structure, which is not the correct function of an operating system. It tracks where all the files are on the computer. That is okay. It prevents unauthorized access to computer. That is obvious. Provision of security. Allocate resources to various programs that are running. That is already given. It reduces the memory size. Cannot reduce. That is why it is an answer.
Yes.
So there are three main types of schedulers except. So I think we don't have running time. Dispatcher is a short term. Another name for short term is dispatcher.
Yes.
And then we have the long term and the medium. Majura, a student at CTech University, was requested by XY. It's the same thing, eh? It's the same thing. So the answer was what? Linux operating system. So I think that was a repetition, which is very wrong. Which of the following is not a correct attribute of a file? We have file handle. That is not the correct one because you have size, name, location, time. That is date and time and location, etc. That was okay. We have main, a cyclic, but here we wanted 3, but you already gave 2. So I think that was okay. Process accrualization is defined as, so this is when you start a job sharing system resource by process in such a way that concurrent access shared data is handled, therefore minimizing the chance of inconsistent data. So if you look at this, we are looking at now arranging of jobs that are supposed to be executed so that we will not have loss of data within the execution. So I think that was okay. That was just a repetition. And that was the presentation. So I think the Zoom is now ending. I'll reswitch it back, then we move back to it again. So if it switches over, restart, then we can continue because it has a limit of 40 minutes. So please, you bear with that. I hope maybe BB will work. So we'll have a class next week still, and I will still communicate this because we still have a class. We are continuing in this class.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that was what you are supposed to do. And please, can you make sure that you understand about the directories? Make sure that you understand all the directories that we have, how we should be able to implement them.